South Korea's rock star president Moon Jae-in greeting a tour group in the garden of his office and residence, the Blue House in Seoul. At 64, President Moon is one of South Korea's most popular leaders. In his first 100 days in office, his approval rating was nearly 80%, the second highest in South Korea's history. When he won the presidency in May, it was clear by the majority vote that South Korea wanted a change, a new vision, from his predecessor Park Geun-hye, who was the first South Korean president to be impeached. Younger voters were attracted to Moon's campaign vows to address social inequality and the lack of economic opportunity. But many in the older generation were disheartened by what they saw as a softer stance on Pyongyang, which called for greater diplomacy between the two Koreas. Still, many look to President Moon to be a healer as the country reels from a massive corruption scandal and heightened tensions between North Korea and the United States. This month, we sit down with President Moon at the Blue House to get his perspective on North Korea. Now, Kim Jong-un has stated he will never give up his nuclear weapons. It is part of state ideology. Do you truly believe that you can convince Kim Jong-un to give up nuclear weapons? And he tells us why, for him, the unfolding crisis strikes a more personal note. Your parents fled North Korea during the Korean War. What did your parents tell you of their escape? President Moon Jae-in, welcome to Talk Asia. If I could start with North Korea, how dangerous is the situation on the Korean Peninsula at the moment?
우선은 북한이
North Korea continues to make very wrong decisions, so I'm very frustrated and I'm saddened to see this. It's a very reckless choice made by North Korea that is not helpful to North Korea itself or inter-Korean relations and threatens world peace. One thing that North Korea needs to take notice of is that this time the UN Security Council made a decision to ban petroleum products and oil to North Korea, and this was a very intensive sanctions measure. The entire international community supported this decision, so North Korea needs to concentrate on these measures. North Korea needs to come out of this international isolation, and they need to understand that they cannot guarantee their own security through nuclear and missile weapons, but through peaceful exchange with the international community.
Now, you mentioned that the UN Security Council resolution, the sanctions impose a cap on crude oil exports to North Korea. It's not the total ban that you'd called for when you were in Russia. And the US President Donald Trump has even questioned whether or not it'll have any kind of impact. Do you think it will make a difference, these sanctions?
우선은 이 안보리 결의가
With regards to the UN Security Council resolution, I believe it is very important that this resolution was adopted unanimously within the UN Security Council and was adopted with the full support of the whole international community. This was also adopted with the support of China and Russia, and they also pledged that they will faithfully implement this resolution. This resolution also reflects that North Korea provocations are no longer just a threat to the peace and security of Northeast Asia, but is also a global threat and a threat to the international community. I don't know whether North Korea will stop its provocations in the face of these sanctions measures. And this is something that North Korea must decide, but I believe this is a very important start by the international community.
Now, Kim Jong-un has stated he will never give up his nuclear weapons. It is part of state ideology. He's written it into the constitution. Do you truly believe that you can convince Kim Jong-un to give up nuclear weapons?
일단 북한의 핵 개발은
I believe maybe North Korea, through its development of its nuclear program, wants to guarantee regime security. And maybe North Korea, through being accepted as a nuclear power state, wants to sit down at the negotiating table with the United States for North Korea-US normalization. However, the international community will never accept a nuclear North Korea, and in particular, my country will never accept a nuclear North Korea.
And Mr. President, we've certainly seen a stronger military response from South Korea to the North Korean tests, the long-range missile tests, the decapitation drills. I mean, does South Korea have an assassination squad that's ready to take out Kim Jong-un if need be?
우선
First of all, if North Korea actually provokes using nukes and missiles, South Korea and the U.S. will neutralize the threat at an early moment. We do have these firm combined defense capabilities. However, we do not have a hostile policy towards North Korea. We do not have the intention to attack North Korea, and we do not have the intention to reunify the Korean Peninsula in an artificial way or in the manner of absorption. What we want is to resolve the North Korean nuclear issue in a diplomatic and peaceful way. And we would like to proceed together with North Korea towards prosperity through inter-Korean cooperation.
You're very uniquely placed in thinking about North Korea, in being able to deal with the issue, as you are the son of North Korean refugees. I mean, your parents fled North Korea during the Korean War. What did your parents tell you of that experience, of their escape?
My parents fled from North Korea during the Korean War because they despised the North Korean communist regime. They fled to seek for freedom and came to South Korea. And in this process, they also received assistance from the U.S. troops. However, my parents lived as people who fled from their hometown and always longed to go back and again have reunion with their families. However, they were not able to realize this dream. So I believe with North Korea and South Korea, we need to develop a relationship and move toward economic co-prosperity. To move to an economic community, we need to move into a relationship where we can seek reunification. But through this process, we also need to defend and secure our freedom and democratic system. Democracy, freedom, and human rights are the core principles that we need to defend. I don't believe my position towards North Korea that we need to have dialogue and also we need to respond strongly towards North Korea's provocations. I don't think this challenges each other. This is because we cannot allow another war from breaking out on the Korean Peninsula. We need to work towards inter-Korean cooperation, work towards free exchange of people between the two Koreas, and also eventually move towards reunification.
Pyeongchang, 2018, you would like North Korea to be involved in some way. I mean, 5 months out, is that still possible? I mean, is North Korea